still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us. But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. And the people in power have gotten away with not doing anything to fight the climate crisis. But we will make sure that they will not get away with it any longer. And we are striking because we have done our homework and they have not. Some say that we are fighting for our future, everyone's future. And we will not stop until we are done. Thank you.
Focus every inch of our being on climate change. Because if we fail to do so, then all our achievements and progress have been for nothing.
The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
You said this was an existential threat. Now you must prove that you mean it. And we will not be satisfied with anything less than a science-based pathway which gives us the best possible...
The world got to know her as a 15-year-old teenager, sitting outside the Swedish parliament, protesting for action on climate change. With her slogan, "School Strike for the Climate," Thunberg invited her classmates to join her and skip school on Fridays to protest. Her message went viral and global. Ultimately, her protest inspired a lot of older people concerned that they had seen too little climate action in their lifetimes. Her message was clear and simple.
Many of you appear concerned that we are wasting valuable lesson time, but I assure you, we will go back to school the moment you start listening to the science and give us a future. Is that really true?
From around the world have joined the Teenagers Fridays for Future movement, walking out of classes to call on politicians to take climate action. Now, thousands of students are taking part in the demonstration in the northern German city.
A lot more students out onto the streets of Hamburg this week than usual. Last week we saw about 800 school kids skipping morning classes last Friday morning today. The figures are estimated to be at about 4,000 school children, and she was greeted here earlier today like a pop star when she came onto the stage. And we can listen now to exactly what she had to say to these Hamburg school kids.
Because the people in power, the media and other people who have big platforms have chosen not to use them, and we have chosen not to communicate that many of the crises that we are experiencing now are very closely interlinked, and therefore people of course only focus on the things that are right ahead of them.
Wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance, young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Rich countries like Sweden need to start reducing emissions by at least 15% every year. And that is so that we can stay below a 2-degree warming target. Yet, as the IPCC have recently demonstrated, aiming instead for 1.5.
To the UN, sir. Are you willing? Thank you very much. Are you willing to meet with Mr. Rouhani, sir?
We'll see what happens.
Greta, how are you?
I'm good.
It is very good to see you again.
Very good to see you.
Thank you so much for stopping by to say hello.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, you're changing the world, so we're very excited to have you. How have you found so far the Friday strikes?
The head's in the sand, but it is to do with us, and we know about the way the world works. That's what science is about.
We need to reach some kind of tipping point. What would you say to people, especially young people, who feel like there is...
This is not about some expensive, politically correct green act of bunny hugging or blah blah blah. Build back better, blah blah blah. Green economy, blah blah blah. Net zero by 2050, blah blah blah. Net zero by 2050, blah blah blah. Net zero. This is all we hear from our so-called leaders. Words that sound great, but so far has led to no action. Our hopes and dreams drown in their empty words and promises. Of course, we need constructive dialogue, but they've now had 30 years. The emissions are still rising. The science doesn't lie. But, of course, we can still turn this around. It is entirely possible. It will take drastic annual emission cuts unlike anything the world has ever seen.